After you beat the 4 Fort Condor missions that make up Junon's protorelic quest, you'll be given access to one more mission, a hard mode for each board. Appropriately, it's not easy, and more than the normal mode, it's actually a bit of a puzzle that will rely on some trial and error in order to find the right approach. But that's what we're here for, to do all of the trial and error for you. Here's our guide on how to beat hard mode in Fort Condor in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. First off, we're going to skip the basics of Fort Condor, because if you're here watching this, you probably already know the essentials and are just looking for a key strategy to help win those tougher challenges. The rewards you earn for defeating these second challenges is 5 party XP per board and a collectible figure, so you will need to complete these challenges for the Platinum Trophy. Let's cut right to the chase and say that for your loadout, you're going to want to use the third pre-made set, the one titled Safeguard Defense Focused, and have your 2 hero characters be Barret and Tifa. The reason for this particular loadout is that we're going to want a way to defend a lane without having to spend too many resources on it. To that end, the ballista solves that problem nicely. Start off each round by placing a ballista down by the tower of the lane that is immediately threatened. Then create an elite enforcer to hold the line, and a cleric to keep that elite enforcer alive for as long as you can. Dropping another ballista down in the opposite lane at this point is generally a good idea as well, but you'll have to make that judgment call based on what specifically that lane is facing off against. Ideally, what you want to do is go heavy on one lane, which will typically be the one that you placed your first soldiers down in, and then do the bare minimum to defend the other. You don't want to spend too much ATB creating enforcers because they won't build towards you calling down either Barret or Tifa, which is your ultimate goal to make your final push. But if you're facing down a lane with a ton of green units, try to hold out for an elite enforcer, backed with a cleric to get your ATB's worth. When Barret comes down, he'll fire a shot towards the enemy's stronghold, and, more importantly, give surrounding units a full heal. So try to hold off on calling him until you're able to put that heal to work. Also, remember that hero units don't cost ATB, so you can essentially drop an elite unit and your hero one right after the other, giving you a huge boost in power. Don't neglect building red vanguard units as well, since Tifa is also an essential part of your game plan. She comes down with a hugely damaging dive kick to the surrounding area, and her haste aura will allow your units to make quick work of the enemy's fortress and towers, assuming you've got a handful of allies already deep in the enemy territory. Don't be immediately scared off by the type mismatches against your red units either. You should have plenty of ranges to be able to shoot down any troublesome blue enemy units before they start wrecking your vanguards. Now, let's cover some of the specific strategies that will help you with each of the individual missions. Okay, for the first board, after you do the usual opener of the Ballista, Elite Enforcer and Cleric in the right lane, you're going to want to go heavy on the left lane this time around. Start off with Rangers to deal with the first onslaught of tanky blue units, then build an Enforcer in the left lane as well to deal with the sword-aligned mech. Help out the right side with an Elite Vanguard once you're able, and then focus back on the left side with another Elite Vanguard once you're ready. At this point, you should be cleared to keep on piling on with the left side with Rangers and Vanguards to help you summon Barret and Tifa. Then push through to the finish of the stronghold. For board number 2, the AI goes really heavy on the right side, so this is where you should focus a lot of your attention to at the beginning. After the usual opener, drop another cleric down for double heals on your elite enforcer. A wolf should also come down the right lane, and these guys will basically ignore everything and make a break for your tower. Fortunately, the ballista will be able to get a shot off or two on it before it reaches its destination, allowing your tower to finish it off before it takes too much damage. Put down 2 more rangers on the right side to deal with the defense-focused mech and keep the pressure on. Then, it is finally time to pay some attention to the left side as a wolf will come down alongside a handful of enforcer-type units. Drop an elite vanguard down to take care of the wolf and let your tower aid the vanguard to help overcome its type disadvantage. Once you get 3 ATB, drop an elite ranger down to help clean up. At this point, your right lane should be doing good work on the enemy turret while the left lane begins to push. Continue to focus on the left lane by dropping down another elite vanguard. At this point, you should have both Tifa and Barret ready to go, so throw them down when you need their beneficial effects on your team, and make your final push, bolstering the left side with whatever you see fit. For the third challenge board, one of the big difficulties is that the enemy stronghold is a siege weapon that can shoot from very far away and deal a lot of splash damage. So don't rush to summon the usual opening trio of units. Wait until you have about 6 ATB, then drop the Ballista, Elite Enforcer and Cleric to fend off the right lane. Drop a Ballista in the left lane as well, and then wait until you have 3 ATB to summon an Elite Vanguard in the right lane. 2 wolves should spawn around this time to attack both the right and left lanes, but your Ballista should once again be able to head them off with a shot or two, letting your towers finish them off without taking too much damage. Drop another Elite Vanguard in the right lane and continue the push. Deal with the blue aligned enemies in the left lane by dropping 2 Rangers in the lane as soon as you get the ATB for it. The enemy will summon an Arch Dragon next, which you should try and counter with an Elite Ranger in the right lane. Keep in mind that only some enemies can attack airborne units, so it is vital that you use a Ranger to do this. Spend your next 3 ATB on an Elite Enforcer to tank some of the damage, and then drop another Elite Enforcer in the left lane to create a bottleneck that will prevent the sword-aligned enemies from reaching your tower, while also making them prime targets for your Ballista. You should be 1 Elite Ranger away from being able to drop down Barret. So drop both your Ranger and Barret down in the right lane when you get a chance, and bolster them with another Elite Vanguard and Tifa to create the final push. In this final challenge, after doing your regular opening, you're definitely going to want to place a Ballista in the left lane to deal with the pair of incoming wolves. Don't freak out by over-defending the left side immediately though. Your tower will take a beating, but the Ballista and the tower should kill the wolves before it goes down. Instead, drop an Elite Ranger in the right lane, then save up until you can afford an Elite Vanguard to place in the left lane. Drop a Cleric to heal up your Elite Vanguard in the left lane, and then you're going to need to save up again to afford an Elite Ranger in the right lane to deal with the Arch Dragon. Back up the right lane with another Ranger, which should allow you to call in Barret. Don't call him in just yet though. Call in another Elite Vanguard to help the right lane, and then back him up with another Ranger. You should have 1 more Elite Vanguard to call in, so do so once you get the 3 ATB. Then go all in by summoning both Barret and Tifa in the right lane to finish the push. This should get you to the final tower and across the finish line. And those are our strategies for beating the hard mode challenges of Fort Condor. Thanks for watching, and for more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, check out our Synergy Explainer video, or our list of the best materia to find in the game. And for all other things gaming, keep it here on IGN.